I want to Medivia a second. Rick, thank you for the Gideon Bibles. Thank you. This is a great thing for the church to do. We were able to hand out Gideon Bibles down in Guatemala, and just people were thrilled to receive them, and they immediately started looking at them. So it's a great blessing for what you're doing. In Matthew 18:20, it says, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there among them." To me, no truer words can be said about our mission trip to Guatemala. We all felt God's presence, from a smooth trip to Guatemala, safety on some wicked mountain roads, and some really crazy drivers, to the time we spent working and witnessing in Santa Cruz de Quiche. I'm going to reflect back on 2 things that really had an impact on me. On Thursday night, we were able to attend a church service with Shane and the Casa kids. This is one of 2 weekly services that they have. They began late. Guatemala time is what we started calling it. But from the first beat of the praise band, you knew this was going to be a real worship service. As you watch this short video clip I took of one of the songs, that you can see they aren't just singing. They're praising and celebrating their Lord and Savior. Stop interrupting. By the end of the service, the room was packed as people had wandered in throughout the entire time. They just kept coming and coming. This wasn't just a church service. These people were truly worshiping. I would have loved to have understood what was being said. We needed the closed caption across the top so we could understand. Because everything was in Spanish. Also that night, through a translator, the Guatemalan people were able to hear the testimonies of Colin and Levi, and they both did a great job. I also want to share a little bit about the Casa kids. Throughout the week, we met and played with a wonderful group of boys and girls that called Casa de Mi Padre home. John 14:2 says, and that's their logo that is on their sign. This is right the first thing you see when you walk in the doors of that orphanage. "My Father's house has many rooms." Shane and his staff have taken this to heart. We've sent home many pictures of smiling, cheerful kids and us playing with the kids, but the true stories behind these kids and the abuse they are suffering and have suffered is just heartbreaking. Shane has rescued these kids, taught them about Jesus. That's the very forefront. He preaches the gospel to them and helped them believe that they deserve to have a future. I want to talk a little bit about Brenda. And Brenda will be on the next picture. Brenda is the tallest girl in this picture of 3. She's the one up there with the scarf. Her story really touched me, especially because she's really close to Sophie's age. She's just about 13. Brenda has been at the orphanage for 3 years because her mother didn't want to deal with her anymore. Her mother had already sold all of her older daughters to be used by older men. Brenda's 19-year-old sister is married to a 60-year-old man. After all this time, Brenda's mother now wants her back. Brenda has grown into a young, pretty teenager. According to Shane, young girls are usually sold at about 13 years of age, which is Brenda's current age. Because of her light skin and pretty features, Brenda's mother could probably sell her for $3,000 American. Brenda's family has gone to court. One side wants her back. Her mother and some of the sisters are trying to get her back. But Brenda's brother has gone back to the judge and said, "Do not send her back. She will be sold. Send her back to Casa." This is just one of the stories behind the faces. I'm sure you'll hear more of them over the next few weeks. They will break your heart. But also realize that God has put Shane and Casa de Mi Padre in place to try and help these kids. After we got back, one of the first songs I heard on K-Love Thursday was a song by Audio Adrenaline called Kings and Queens. These words just hit me. They could have been written specifically with the CASA kids in mind. These are just some of the lyrics. And this is a shot. These are all of the kids in the orphanage. There's 22, including Emily, who's in a white butterfly dress. She's the daughter of Maria, the cook. Little hands, shoeless feet, lonely eyes looking back at me. Will we leave behind the innocent to grieve? On their own, on the run, when their lives have only just begun. These could be our daughters and our sons. And just like the drum, I can hear their hearts beating. I know my God won't let them be defeated. Every child has a dream to belong and be loved. Boys become kings, girls become queens, wrapped in your majesty. When we love the least of these, then they will be brave and free. Once you look around, these are the lives the world has forgotten, waiting for the doors of your hearts and our homes to open. If not for us, who will be like Jesus to the least of these? Thanks.